Hey guys, this video is an introduction to a series of videos on how I made my Necromancer cosplay from scratch. I'm planning to make detailed tutorials on each piece of the costume. The corset, the skirt, the headpiece, the foam armor, legwear, and like tons of accessories. In this video though, I want to share with you some general information about this cosplay project. For example, how much time and money it took, my background in sewing and crafting, so you understand better my starting point, and of course the real reason why I decided to make this cosplay in the first place. So let's start with my background, because it's really important in order to understand the level of my suffering, because I'm quite a beginner at sewing and crafting. I learned a bit of sewing when I was at school, and God bless me, it was like 20 years ago. Please don't even try to count my age, I'm like a necromancer. At school we had classes that are hard to translate, but I think there was something like technology or industrial arts. For example, boys were learning how to make chairs, or they were learning how to do some other woodwork or how to use tools, and at the same time girls were learning how to cook, how to sew and knit. Yeah, I know it's a very patriarchal model of education, and I think it would be more useful for all children actually learn the same skills altogether. Especially now as a cosplayer, I wouldn't mind knowing how to craft things better. So that's where I learned the basics of sewing, how to set up and thread in the sewing machine, and how to sew a straight line. Yeah, of course we made some things during the classes, for example, like napkins, maybe a kitchen apron, some simple skirt, or, well, you know, something that it was easy to make for a kid. And also we were sort of taught how to make patterns, but you know, all of this was under the guidance of our teacher. So we weren't doing it alone by ourselves. And honestly, at school, I can't really say that I understood a lot, especially how to make these complicated patterns. After graduating from school, I started playing LARP. And if you don't know what LARP is, it means live action role-playing game. Partially it's like cosplay, because you need to dress up as a character, but also you need to play your role. You actually need to play, you know, like in a theater or in a movie, and you need to interact with other players. If you want, I can explain more about LARP in the separate video, and if you know something about it, just drop a comment. So guess what? I needed costumes for all those role-playing games. And my first game was set in Hogwarts, so I needed to make a wizard's robe. So my friend made patterns for me, thank you very much. I wouldn't manage to do this myself. And also she cut the fabric. So basically what I had to do afterwards, only put them all together, sew them all together, and you know, basically it's like sewn with the straight lines again. I'm telling you all that so you fully understand my miserable sewing experience. After that, I played LARP for several years, I think, and all this time either my mom would make my costumes, or I would borrow it from other players, or I would just buy them. And yeah, I was watching quite a lot how my mom was sewing, and maybe I would also make some simple adjustments, some, you know, clothing repair, hand sewing, but you know, never like nothing serious. And then imagine 15 years later, now I'm going to tell you why I decided to buy a sewing machine here in Cyprus, and why I actually decided to start learning sewing again. By the way, I also have a separate video about the machine and unboxing, the machine that I bought, and how I chose it and why I chose it. So I'll leave the link maybe somewhere here in the video and in the description. So why have I started all this mess? You probably already know, if you're watching my channel, that I've been seriously involved in cosplaying and content creation for about 3 years now. I mean, I also did something similar before, like LARP, cosplaying, dressing up. Also, I would shoot some videos and photos, but it was like quite irregular and not serious, so I don't really count it. So I started with some simple makeup looks about 3 years ago, And at that time, I didn't have all these cosplay outfits, fantasy clothes. I used just my regular clothes. And then slowly my work started evolving. So I started adding more accessories into my looks. And then brands started sending me clothes, shoes, like hat pieces, and like many other accessories. And also I just started earning more money with my content creation, and I could afford buying my own stuff like fantasy outfits and props and some cosplay clothes. So in general, my original and cosplay looks became more complete. About a year ago, in the beginning of 2024, I realized it's time to grow. It's not like I had to, but I wanted to try to level up and to do something new. Because when you're doing the same thing for years, it becomes a bit boring. So last year I decided to try to make my own outfit from scratch. Also in the beginning of the last year, I moved from France to Cyprus with my husband, and I found out that they've got Cyprus Comic Con in October. So I thought it was a good deadline, a good excuse for me to complete my first cosplay project. And as a challenge, I decided to take part in a cosplay competition. So first, I wanted to make a cosplay of one of the Witcher characters for the competition. Just because it's my favorite universe and I really love the characters, and I feel like very comfortable cosplaying Ciri or Triss, for example. But the thing is, I already had 5 outfits that I already bought for Ciri, for Yennefer, and 3 dresses for Triss. So I really didn't want to make the same costumes for the competition, and all other options seemed a little bit too complicated for me. How little I knew at that time that I would choose one of the most complex Diablo outfits. So my next choice after the Witcher Ghost was Diablo cosplay. First, because I have a long-lasting relationship and deep connection with this game series, but it's a topic for another video. And second, simply because this universe contains a lot of various character classes and tons of outfit options. Basically starting from a ripped cloth like wrapped around your chest, and ending with like a sophisticated armor like this in which you would never be able to move in real life. So by the beginning of 2024, I already finished playing Diablo IV. At least I finished the main plot, and I had a general impression, general idea of the character classes and the clothing sets that go along with them. I was considering rogue outfits because like most of the clothes is just some ripped fabric and it seemed quite easy to recreate. Also I was considering sorcerers because their gowns are usually like a very sophisticated, beautiful and elegant. Maybe I will even make one day. But I ended up with necromancers because they're the coolest. And this is the particular look I wanted to cosplay in the first place, and I still want to do it. This is a combination of a basic necromancer outfit that you get in the beginning of the game, and it's plus a modified skirt. I've been thinking about this look for I think about a half a year because I really loved it, and everything was alright. But then all of a sudden I decided to check the full gallery of all necromancer outfits in Diablo IV. Just, to make sure that I didn't miss any interesting top or skirt. I was ready to replace with something equally simple. And that's when I came across this. Oh god. I immediately fell in love with it. But don't think that I rushed to make it straight away. I guess this skin was released in the game somewhere in May 2024, I'm not sure. And I discovered it somewhere maybe in the end of May or maybe early June. And then I spent something like a month thinking whether I should stay with this basic and simple nice outfit or should I switch to Festival Macabre. I knew it would be absolutely crazy for me to try, even thinking about it, to try making it with my beginner skills. Because I didn't know where to start, because I've never ever in my life made my own patterns. And these patterns for this cosplay, you know, like they're not simple, they're not regular, they're irregular, they're like very specific. Somewhere in July, I realized I need to make a decision now, like right now, because if I don't, I likely won't be able to finish this cosplay project in time for the competition. I guess you understand what happened next. With a heavy heart, I had to say goodbye to the basic outfit. After discovering Festival Macabre, I just thought, well, it's already too simple. It's too easy for the competition. I need to make something more complicated. And also, as I said, I fell in love and I like got absolutely crazy about this Necromancer cosmetics. And yes, of course, I understood that with my skills, no matter how much effort I put into this, I wouldn't be able to make the exact, like the perfect copy of this outfit, and that maybe with a couple of years of practice I could make it better. But also, unfortunately, I knew that if I didn't do it like right away at that time, I would lose my interest later. So I just closed my eyes, absolutely terrified and excited at the same time, and just dived into crafting. And now finally about how much it took me and how much it cost me. The time frame for actual sewing and crafting was around 2.5 months. I started making the first pattern on the 20th of July in 2024, like last year, and finished the last piece of armor on the 6th of October, on the day of the competition. Yes, I was pulling an all-nighter thinking about how I got myself into this situation. Because I started in advance, like a couple of months in advance. And then I didn't really procrastinate that much. I worked almost every single day, like beat by beat. But it wasn't enough, because most of the armor I finished in the last night. As for the cost of cosplay, I really don't want to talk about it. I'm sorry, I promised that I would tell you the cost, but actually it is hard to calculate, so I can only give you the estimate. I think it was something around a couple of €100. So I tracked my transactions, like online transactions in the bank, and it was something around €400 only on online transactions. So I counted orders from AliExpress, from Shein, from some art shops. I know also there is some cash that I paid for the fabric, but I guess it wasn't that much. And also we need to calculate here like a broken airbrush because of this like huge painting, and like the actual paints, the primer. So I think it's a bit more than that. Like I would give myself an estimate of €500. And this is the price, like the top of the price that I'm comfortable with. Well, I'm not really comfortable, but I can think about something higher, but probably it was higher. But also we need to keep in mind that I didn't have most of the things for sewing and crafting because it was literally my first time. So I had to buy a lot of basic tools and accessories, for example, needles, threads, like a lot of accessories for the sewing machine, and also like Eva foam, also foam clay, you know, like that moldable clay. Then I use it for the horns and for some accessories for this costume. What I mean that I've got a lot of leftovers, for example, threads for the sewing machine, foam clay, a lot of ribbons and laces, and like tons of different sewing accessories. So actually a lot of stuff that I'm gonna use for my next cosplay projects. So that's why I say it's a bit hard to calculate how much this costume costs, because, you know, like I don't count the sewing machine because I bought it not for this costume, but in general for me. And like if you make costumes, you craft a lot, you already have all these tools, all these materials. So for you it would be cheaper, you know, and for me, if it wasn't my first time, it would be much cheaper, of course. So wait for the detailed explanation and the tutorial in the next video. See ya!